It is the 13th of December and 1 year ago this branch was not on this tree. In the next 14 minutes or so I'll explain how I took a branch from the back, grafted it through the trunk and now it is fully fused. I can't believe it's December already. This maple is now completely bare. We can do the final wiring of the year, pruning it back, but I'm also going to correct something. Here on this side there's very few branches, and over the last years I've been trying to get more branches on this side. Now it's been standing in the sun with this side. There's one tiny little bud here, but unfortunately it's exactly the same height as the back branch and the side branches here. Now I have been playing with the back branch down low, but that is not enough. I want a branch somewhere in this region. So that's why I've left this long whip in place this year, which I can now, using a drill, graft here on the trunk. I'm going to drill a hole through the trunk, going to push the whip through, secure it in place, and as this starts extending in spring, fattening up, it will fill the hole and then the cambium layers will start to fuse because the bark is still very young and thin. Let's do that now. I've got my drill here, and just to make sure, you always drill from the position where you want it to leave the hole, because where it enters the trunk is not so relevant, but where it exits is very important, and therefore the drill goes in on this side.
Now, in the question where exactly do I want to graft it, consecutive branches are always far further apart as you go lower on the trunk. So this distance, there, and then a little bit lower, roughly there. And I want it to come a little bit to the front. So this is where it is going to be, right there. At this angle, then the viewing position will be from here, which is excellent. Always go slow. You don't want to burn. And now fingers crossed that the hole is big enough. Should be, but you never know. Around in the hole, in the back. Careful not to damage the buds, and out at the front. There we go. That is perfect. Absolutely great. There we go. Now a little wire around the back to keep it in place, and the same here in the front, although that's less important.
Now I'm going to add a little bit of cut paste here on the entrance and the exit side to aid in callousing over. This will take a year probably to set. Yeah, and now it's just a matter of pruning back and wiring out the rest of these whips. Let's get going. Don't think I need to show you the whole process, right? I'll just show you a few glimpses and then the final result of the tree. And I think then we're done for this year. Now what I'm going to do next year with this tree, that's not going to be in this video, I'm going to have to graft some roots here on the front. And I'm not sure yet whether I'm going to use existing roots or whether I'm going to take cuttings, root those and plant them and graft them in. But that is for later. Right now, let's start to wire it out, prune it back.
I don't want all this long growth here in the top, so all of these long branches can go. And everywhere where there's triplicates, of course, I also remove the triplicates. Quite heavy branching here. Need to clean that one up with a knife. Of course, wiring in the middle of winter requires a little bit of a delicate hand. Branches on the Japanese maple get really brittle in winter because they dry out. So don't try very extreme curves or bends. Just gently position branches. Not much more than that. This wire can stay on till mid-spring. Normally I let the first flush of leaves grow out and then I try to unwire where possible. And sometimes that means that I have to rewire again, but that's fine. It's April and you can see here the grafted branch is pushing, although not very strong. On the other side, however, there is very good growth. So what I'm doing now, I'm going to remove all the growth from the donor branch on the other side. This will stimulate, hopefully, the strength of this branch that is coming out. I have to be very, very gentle because I don't want to pull off the connection here that is now slowly forming. But this way, all the sap flow that is in this branch is pushed to the tip of the branch. It will bud back later on if I want to get buds on this. That's the last one. Let's see whether that helps push this a little bit stronger.
Early August, and this tree has grown tremendously. And look at this sacrifice. Now it is almost time to separate them. I can see that this exiting branch is by now thicker than the entering. That means that initial connections have been made on this side, and some of the energy that this branch is getting is coming from this trunk. Well, actually the energy is coming from the leaves, the sap and nutrients are coming from the branch. Now how can I make sure that when I cut the donor side off, this lives? I can't. But what I can do is I can start weaning it off the original. First of all, I'm going to create more callus here on the connection. I'm going to take a tiny little knife, I'm going to damage the bark on both the branch coming out and the trunk. I'm going to cover it with cut paste, and after that I'm going to scar the bark on the donor side. That way I reduce the sap flow from this branch going through the donor branch into the trunk, and I'm increasing the connection between the branch and the trunk on this side. Then in 2 or 3 weeks, hopefully should be good to separate. I'll see that in 2 or 3 weeks depending on how much callus formation has taken place. So I'm using this little rounded cutting tool to very gently, and I need to really carefully scar this connection here. You see the little line, this is the trunk, and then here at the line is where the branch starts. And I really want to make sure that these are connected. So I'm damaging the bark on both sides. This will get me new callus, and the callus, once it connects, because it is the same plant, it will really ensure this connection is permanent. Then the bark will really heal over, connecting the branch and the trunk in the final setting. Now I'm not doing it all around, just initially on this side, and if this works well, then the other side I can do maybe next year, but don't think I will have to, because then it will just by itself continue. And now I said on the other side, I want to scratch off some of the bark. Just to weaken this part. Making sure not to sever it completely, but just a little bit. And now that I have it on the bench here, it is also very clear that this is the back that doesn't get as much attention as this side, because this side I can actually touch. This is a nice branch, but it doesn't need to be all this long. Let's just prune this back and also have the pruning done for the season. Always check where branches commence. Right, I think this is balanced. Right, it's been quite windy the last couple of days, and one of the things that I noticed is this long branch, the grafted branch, is whipping around in the wind quite badly, and that's really not good for this joint here. It is still not very strong, so in order to avoid more pressure there, I'm going to have to reduce this a little bit, so there's not as much pressure here on this joint. It is sad because this would really power the development, the thickening of this branch, but yeah, if it thickens and still breaks out of the union, you still don't have a new branch. So yeah, unfortunate, but this needs to go. Then here at the back I'm going to leave it alone for a little bit longer. Don't know whether this joint was damaged in the storm 2 days ago, so I'm just going to leave it, and we'll see in a couple of weeks how it develops. and maybe in 1 or 2 weeks I'll take a little bit of a nibble here at the entrance side. Mid-September, we are really at the end of the growing season. This branch just keeps on growing. You see here, very nice extension. I just fertilize it because it is a little bit poor in fertilizer. Here I scratched off all the connection. I think by now it is time for this to go. There we go. Oh, satisfying. Can remove, of course, this whole side branch here all the way to a small side branch. And with that, this exercise is done. Now, if I go to the front, this tree now has a very nice lower first branch. I can of course remove all this wire here. I'll do that in a second. This connection is going to be weak for another year or two. This branch will need to shoot out a lot, so this gets thicker than what we have here or even here in the back. So that will be a few more years, but I am quite happy. This whole exercise has taken 1 growing season effectively. It is now well attached, I hope. In spring I will know for sure that this is all taken. If this doesn't wilt for the next 2 or 3 days, it will completely be fine. But considering how thin the branch was at the connection, let me see, that was this side, and compare it to the branch that's coming out here, it should be okay. It is November, and look at that. This graft has fully taken. It's now dropping leaves. Over winter I'll completely wire it out. It's gotten very nice fine twigging over this year. And look at the size of these leaves. Look at how small these leaves have gotten. Quite pleased with it. But it's now also time to clean up for winter. I'll leave the leaves on this branch, so it aids in strengthening this connection, but the rest I'm just going to remove all the leaves. I know it's a shame, but still. What needs to be done, needs to be done. We're back again. 1 year. This branch is fully in place. It's nice and fused. This I can still cut back. All that now needs to be done is wire this out completely, but that is going to be for the next video that I'm doing on this maple. And if you're not done yet watching videos on Japanese maple, there's a very nice one here where I develop the trunk line on another Japanese maple that I have. And otherwise, you could always just watch one of my latest videos. This was Jelle, growing bonsai, and see you next time.